This is Notes in the Margin, a podcast for people who are super excited about writing their non-fiction book, but perhaps, just perhaps, aren't quite doing it. If you always feel called to tile the bathroom or clean the toilet instead of writing your book, you are in the right place. Your host, Vicky Quinn Fraser, has been there, done that, and has literally written a book about it. Join Vicky and her husband Joe as they make notes in the margin about creativity, writing techniques, publishing, and general shenanigans, and get tips and tricks to help you write your book. Hello and welcome to Notes in the Margin. I am Vicky Quinn Fraser and this is my husband and faithful sidekick, Joe.
Hello.
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 We've just been having a discussion about being tired and sitting up straight and having no room for elbows.
Vicky, in her customary way of organising things, has occupied all of the horizontal space available.
This is literally my office.
Yes. And also our house.
That's
Very true.
No.
Very true.
Not true. Anyway, hello.
Hello.
So, what are you reading at the moment, Joe?
I should have prepared because I really don't know.
Is it pre-study?
No, I ditched that.
Oh, yeah, you didn't. You were not enjoying it, were you?
No, didn't get it. It kind of felt like a book that I was supposed to know the author, and this book was filling in the backstory, but I didn't know who the author was.
Oh, okay, interesting.
It kind of felt like I was supposed to have been reading their blog for the last 10 years or something, and I just haven't.
Interesting. I will read it because that interests me, that idea. I mean, maybe it was written for people who know her.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It really did feel that way to me. So I was like, I don't know who you are. Don't get it.
Okay, cool.
So I'm reading something else and I have no idea what it is.
Oh, no.
That's bad, isn't it? I just picked it up out of the massive stack of stuff that you've surrounded our bed with.
Joe, I feel a little bit attacked. A little bit attacked, yeah.
Sorry about that.
You don't look very sorry.
I'm not very sorry.
Especially as I have tidied up and everything today while you've been out.
What?
I washed up.
Right.
After
making some dishes dirty. Okay. I mean, that's good.
Well, anyway.
What are you reading?
I am reading The Thursday Murder Club
Okay.
by Richard Osman.
I read that last week.
I know you did. And I decided that I wanted something, a little bit Agatha Christie, and I didn't like the first few pages. I was like, I don't know about this. And now I really like it. I just think his descriptions, in fact, if I'm going to recommend it for people who want to write better or more interesting creative non-fiction as well, because even though it's fiction, his descriptions of people and situations are really beautiful. And, that is a technique that is just as useful in non-fiction as it is in fiction. So
good.
Yeah.
Glad you're enjoying it. That was an airport book, that was.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm also reading, my non-fiction is, I'm reading the latest, actually it's not even the latest issue of Slightly Foxed because I've let them pile up a little bit. So
on all the horizontal surfaces.
No, Joe. And so I have been reading that today, and it's a literary journal. And it's little essays written by people about books that they've read. And they're usually books that are lesser known. So then they don't talk about like the latest big blockbusters and stuff. And it usually culminates in me going in search of one of the books. And that is exactly what I've done. So I've ordered a book today.
That does not surprise me. Well, add it to the pile.
Yeah. Well, I need a library, Joe.
We're working on it.
I know. So yeah, Dingle update, because I know everybody is extremely interested.
Super
I feel like they are actually, because it is interesting what we're doing. But we have been simultaneously delighted and enraged with our latest bathroom developments because our plastered walls are beautiful. They've done a glorious job of plastering the walls. The window returns are rounded and gorgeous, and there's crisp lines everywhere. It's just very lovely. And as part of the arrangements, part of what we are paying them for, notes they are going to pay them for, is that they were going to fit the oak windowsills as well. So we're like, we'll do all that because they fit the windowsills and then plaster around them.
Yeah, which makes sense because otherwise you're kind of cutting bits of timber to fit in. It makes perfect sense to plaster.
Yes.
After the windowsills are in.
Yes. And so at first glance, everything was lovely and dandy and beautiful. And then we got the sanders out to sand and oil and generally make the windowsills look beautiful. And we noticed that they had bodged them in and made a right fucking mess, frankly. Yeah. And it's really upsetting for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because it's beautiful oak, and I don't see how they're going to salvage one of the pieces because
they fucked it up.
They did, yeah. It's really sloppy, and I just feel like they did it and we're like, they won't notice.
Yeah.
And it's like, would that be acceptable in your house? Absolutely not. And a stranger would walk into the bathroom and never notice, and I will know it's there every single time. And we're pretty much building most of this house ourselves with our own hands. And
we would not have done that.
We would not have done that. And we would have done a much better job.
We would have done a slower job, and we would have thought about it, and it would have taken ages, but we wouldn't have had those mistakes in it.
Now, I'm hoping that what's going to happen is they'll come and have a look and be like, oh, yeah, that's really out of order. We're going to put that right at our expense and trouble, and we're going to do the beautiful job that we should have done in the first place. I really hope that's what happens. I'm gearing up for a fight because tradesmen, innit?
Yeah.
And if there are any tradesmen listening, this is why we hate working with you dudes. This is why. Because it's like, just don't be sloppy. Like, imagine you were doing this job for yourself. And I know, hashtag not all tradesmen, blah, whatever. But this is why you have the reputation that you have, and why people just kind of steal themselves before having to do any work. It's also why we're doing most of the work ourselves.
And if the dude couldn't do it, if the bit of timber was not what he was expecting, or the job was not what he was expecting, or the whatever, he should have said. And
you know what? None of that's true, because I was there when we were looking at the bit of oak, when I was looking at the bit of oak with him, and I was like, is this all okay? It's like, yeah, absolutely, I can do whatever you want. It's all, easy, fine and dandy. It's just fitting windowsills. So my eye rolling is extreme, and so we'll stay tuned to find out what happens there.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that they'll just be like, sorry about that. That's terrible. We'll fix it.
That's a bit chonky.
I really hope that's what happens. And that is, by the way, the appropriate response to this kind of issue, whatever your business is. And, I've had people come back to me before and be like, I'm not happy with this. And I've been like, let's put it right. Let's put it right. I take even if it's not my fault, I still take responsibility for it because it's my business. So anyway, so that's that. That's a Dingle update. But the walls do look beautiful.
They do.
And we have, and the windowsills would...
From a distance, they look great.
Yeah, and they will be beautiful. But yeah, details. So also the extractor fan is fitted. And
extractor fan is fitted.
Anyway.
Electrical apprentice did very well in the attic.
That's me, by the way. I'm the electrical apprentice. Yeah. Also spent quite a lot of time squeezed into a small space, which is not my favourite thing. But I'm the small person, so yeah. Anyway, so right, we are talking today about your table of contents and how it is like a burlesque show.
So, a table of contents, right?
Yeah.
Does every book have a table of contents?
No.
When does a book have a table of contents?
Well, I'm going to say something controversial. I'm going to use the should word. In my opinion, almost every book should have a table of contents.
Are we talking non-fiction book?
Non-fiction, yes.
Okay.
Fiction, I mean, you know what? It's your book, and you can do what you want. And if a client of mine was like, I really don't want a table of contents, and they could argue their point as to why not, I'd be like, cool, no problem, it's your book. But for example, there is a book called On How to Speak Well by Peggy Noonan, and I wanted to dip in and find something, and I couldn't, because there's no table of contents and there's no index, and that really irritated me, because I knew the thing that I wanted to go and find, and
we had no means to do so, short of reading the whole book.
Yeah, so that I have just said is a really good reason for you to have a table of contents. That said, you can have a bit of fun with it, because this is one of the things that I love about writing your own book and publishing your own book as well, and not being, beholden to what the publishing gods decide that they want to do if you're going with a big publisher. Right. So, but yeah, if you think about how you read a book, how you choose a book, you look at the front cover, flip it over and read the back cover. And then usually you open it up and have a scan of the table of contents, right? If you're buying a non-fiction book.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
If you're me, you'll open it to a random page in the middle and read it.
Yeah, I do that as well.
Yeah. But I also read the table of contents, and that's what most people do. And you have a little scan down, and it's like, okay, well, that's what the book says it's about on, the cover and the back blurb and stuff. And then you open it up and have a quick scan of the table of contents, and it should give you an idea of what you're going to get, where you're going to be taken as a reader through the book. So it has two functions, your table of contents does. That's the first one, is like to help your reader figure out where things are and make it easy for them to find stuff and give them an idea of what's in it. But also it's there to help you as well, because creating a table of contents really early on that isn't fixed in stone, by the way, you can change it, but creating that early on gives you like a roadmap to write to. It gives you a structure to write to. And even if you are a fast and loose type person, having a structure is a really useful thing. You don't have to stick to it. You can change it as you go along, but just having somewhere to start is really, really super useful. And so I always get people to at least have some kind of a loose structure before they start writing. And you can come back later on, because I know a lot of people, and actually I'm doing this with the book that I'm writing at the moment. I have no table of contents. I have no structure. I've got an idea of what I want to do, and at the moment I'm just writing stuff. But I know that at some point in the not too distant future, I'm going to sit down and
need a structure
think about what the structure is. So and that's what I'm saying. At some point, you're going to need one. And depending on what type of book you're writing and stuff, some books it makes a lot of sense to do it right at the start of the process, and other books, like the one that I'm writing at the moment, it makes more sense for me to do it a little bit later. But that moment is coming. But so why is it a burlesque show? Well, because
why is it a burlesque show?
Yeah, why is your table of contents a burlesque show?
Okay.
Because it's a little tease for your reader. It's like, in a burlesque show when a burlesque dancer is like, oh, here is my ankle and my foot, and then we're wearing a stocking, and they take their shoe off, and then they like bring their skirt up a little bit, and it's like, oh, here's a bit of ankle, and oh, here's my knee, and oh, I'm just going to peel my stocking off.
Right.
And it's like a little promise of what's to come. It's the whole point of a burlesque show, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, feather boa, stockings, gloves, imagine them peeling off to reveal a little bit of skin here and there, a little sexy elbow, and that's your table of contents. That's what your table of contents is doing.
Sexy elbow.
Sexy elbow, yeah.
Table of contents.
Your table of contents
is the sexy elbow of your book.
It's the sexy elbow of your book, yes.
Okay, quote. Put that in the show notes.
I'm actually going to clip this audio clip out, and people are going to be like, what the fuck? Your table of contents, because, as I said, you start on the front cover, turn to the back, turn inside, have a quick look at the table of contents. And that's the thing that's really, most of the time, going to make the decision. If you're not sure, after having looked at the covers, it's going to be like, oh, I really like the look of what's in this table of contents. I'd like to buy the book and take it out for dinner and, take it home and, read it in bed or whatever.
This analogy's getting a bit strange.
Your face is a bit strange.
Thanks.
Sorry. So that's what it does for your, oh, I'm sorry, your face is lovely. That's what it does for your reader. And also for you, I've already mentioned, I'm kind of going around in circles a little bit here, but I'm hoping that, dear listener, that this makes some kind of sense. For you, it's like it gives you a place to start. So you don't have to start at the beginning.
As a writer, yeah. Gives you a place to start.
You don't and the great thing is it means once you've got this loose table of contents and this loose structure, you don't even have to start at the beginning, and you don't have to start at the end. You can look at it and go, what looks most appealing to me today? That thing there, I can write that.
Yeah.
And that's also a really useful thing. And that's something that you don't have if you don't have any kind of a structure. It's like, well, I feel like I've got to start at the beginning, or I've got to start at the end. But actually, I don't want to do either of those two things. So let's give you a few more options, I've already talked about that. So
how much detail do you go into in your table of contents? I mean, is it like it's more than chapter headings, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, yes. And this is the thing that I love about table of contents. So if you have a look at my book, which is called How the Hell Do You Write a Book? And you can buy that in all good bookshops. Actually, I don't know if that's true. You can definitely buy it from my website and Amazon. And you should as well. It's good. People have said so, other than me and you. Where were we? What was I talking about?
Table of contents. How much detail?
Okay. So when you are first, so we're moving on a bit now. When you've first written your table of contents, it can be very descriptive. So it's like chapter 1. what are gloves? Chapter 2, types of gloves. Chapter 3, how to make a thumb. I don't know, whatever. So it's a glove about books.
It's a glove about books, right?
Yeah. And so you can just be very descriptive for your own purposes for the outline. But when you come to actually make a table of contents that is going to go into the final book, you can make it more fun, and you should do, because each of your table of contents headings should be like a little miniature headline.
Right.
So like your book title is a headline for the book title and the subtitle is like, oh, literally can't think of one. Oh, hang on, I've got a book right here. Hang on. This is a good one. The Art of Memoir by Mary Carr. And so that tells you very simply what the book is about. It's about memoir. I don't know if she's got a subtitle. She does not have a subtitle. This is a terrible example. Anyway, so there'll be a subtitle that kind of that her title. She doesn't need a subtitle because it's very obvious what the book is about. But if you had a book that was, say, called The Chimp Paradox, which is an actual book by Professor Steve.
Someone.
Oh my god, I can't remember his name. Anyway, but he needs a subtitle because The Chimp Paradox is an intriguing title. It doesn't really tell you about what the book's about unless you know something about the chimp brain and all that kind of thing. And it's, most people don't. So you need a subtitle. Anyway, you need to do a similar thing with your chapter titles in your table of contents. So they need to be both descriptive and interesting enough to make the reader want to read on. And so, for example, I really should have prepared better for this. I'm going to use my book as an example because I can open it on my computer without standing up and finding a different book. So we have chapter 1 is The Beating Heart of Your Business. That is the chapter title. And it's all about why you want to write a book for your business and all the rest of it. And this is what one of my friends said when she was writing her book. It's Kenda. Hi, Kenda.
Hi, Kenda.
She said that after she'd written her book, she felt like it was the beating heart of her business. And that was a really lovely description. And then another chapter title is called Embrace the Shitty First Draft, which, is a bit more interesting than Write Your First Draft.
Sure. Or Your First Draft.
Or Your First Draft. Yeah. Find Your Weirdos. More interesting than Who Are You Writing For? So you want to be thinking about it like that. But when you've actually got your table of contents, and I don't think I've got it do not think I've got it here, but I decided that I was going to turn my table of contents into a little mini story for each chapter. So I had like the chapter title, so to be funny or not to be funny. And then underneath I had a bunch of just little headings. I've got my book right behind me. I just realised that would be much easier. This is one of my more professional podcasts.
It is well put together, this one.
Okay, so chapter 9, Outline Like a Boss, page 113 of my book. And then just underneath that, I've got this. You have to warm up or you'll get hurt. How to enjoy writing, the Moxie book blueprint, organising your ideas, the table of contents, a scrapbook and a lint trap. So that is it's just a sequence of little descriptors for what else is in the chapter, and it just gives you an idea of what's in there. If I was going to do this again, I would go even further and turn each of those little snippets into a little miniature story. So rather than just being like a series of descriptive titles and words, I would tell a little mini story of the chapter within there. Just partly because it's fun, partly because it's a really useful exercise for you to do because it gives you a really tight idea of what's going to be in your chapter. And partly because it's interesting for the reader as well. So you can have a little bit of fun with that. Maybe write a haiku, write a little poem. I don't know, do a doodle. It's your book and you can do all sorts of things with it. And that's what I love about it. So,
but do more than just give us the chapter headings in a list with page numbers.
Yeah, I mean, at the very bare minimum, do that. But you can do better. You've got to think about it as being this burlesque dancer. Think about it as selling each chapter. You have to sell the reader on each chapter, even if you're not writing a book that's designed to help you, sell more, do more in your business. Even fiction writers, every sentence has got to make you want to read the next one, because otherwise you're just going to stop reading. So it's really, really important. And the chapter headings and the chapter titles and the table of contents is all part of that. So you want to be thinking about all of that stuff. And plus it's a little bit more fun as well. And remember, you don't have to get it right first time. Just start with a basic descriptor.
Yeah.
Don't try and write the perfect table of contents, because you'll never write anything.
Certainly don't get hung up on it and
absolutely not. Because your perfect table of contents heading and your chapter title will almost certainly come, for the most part, after you've written the chapter, because it might be a line that comes out that is like a really good line, or an idea that comes out of it, or something like that. So right. Yeah. So pick up your feather boa, put on some dancing music, and crack on with your sexy elbow table of contents.
Cool. Do so.
Yeah. Right then. What else? I've got some templates to help you do that. There you go. You can get my templates from moxiebooks.co.uk/start your book templates. Each of those pauses was for you to stick a little dash in there.
Start-your-book-templates.
Yeah. Yes. So you can get those from my website, and you should, because they're really cool. Somebody said that my templates were the only things that had ever helped her to start writing her book, and she'd tried loads of tools and templates and things. So I was pretty pleased with that.
Cool.
And yeah. Oh, and this is going out early September. And at the time of recording, I have enough space for 4 more people to do a book breakthrough jam with me.
Okay.
Which is a 90-minute mini coaching session to get your book started, basically. You can find out more about that at moxiebooks.co.uk/book breakthrough. It's a really cool thing. I'm really proud of it. Everyone who's done them has been like, oh my God, this has been the best thing ever. I never thought I'd get started or feel good about my book, and now I'm really excited about it. I have some testimonials on my website, so you can go read that.
Yeah. Endorsements are available at moxiebooks.co.uk.
Yep. And I really love doing them as well. They're so much fun. So if you want to get your book started and you can't figure out how, let me ask you a question. Do you have time to figure it out yourself? How long have you spent figuring it out so far? How are you getting on with that? If you're stuck, ask for help. Get someone, pay an expert to help you with it, whether it's me or somebody else. I'd like it to be me, obviously, but I'm not for everyone, so that's cool. But yeah, don't waste any more time trying to figure this shit out yourself. Life is short. Do it now.
Get on with it.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Joe, thanks for helping me.
No worries at all.
Podfly, thank you for making this sound great. Harriet, thank you for snipping things out and generally helping me to organise my shit. And if you have liked this episode, go and rate and review us.
Subscribe. Recommend a friend.
Yeah, please send it to a friend. Actually, that's the best thing you could possibly do. If you want to support the podcast, send it to a friend who you think might enjoy it. Send it to 2 friends.
All of your friends.
All of your friends. And yeah, we would really like that. And if you've got any questions, give us a shout. Drop a question to vicky@moxiebooks.co.uk and we would love to answer it on air.
Yeah.
And when my new website is live, which it might be by the time this goes out, there will be a voice recording function on my podcast page. So you can actually ask me a question with your face.
Swish.
Yeah, I know, right? So you can be on my podcast. That would be cool. I would love that. Right, I'm going.
Right, that's that.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Peace out. We'll be back next week talking about, oh my good God.
Something else.
Yeah, talking about, I don't know, stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe publishing, traditional or self-publishing. Are
Cool.
you being impatient?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Joe is like gesticulating wildly here in the background like I'm a really annoying person. I can't imagine why.
It's just the complete professionalism and readiness for this recording.
It's what the listeners have come to expect.
It is what the listeners have sadly come to expect.
If they want professional podcasts, other podcasts are available. I'm going now. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Check out the show notes at moxiebooks.co.uk/podcast for links to everything we've mentioned in this episode. Remember to subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. And if you'd like to hear more from Notes in the Margin, you can sign up to get regular emails from Vicky into your inbox at moxiebooks.co.uk/notes in the margin. We'll be back same time next week.